number 6 of the Mirrorless Podcast. We have a guest on, one of my good friends. We'll bring in Brandon West. He's from Boston, Massachusetts, a basketball trainer. Brandon, thank you for joining us on this podcast, man. Good to have you.
No, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited.
Nice. You don't have an accent.
No, I don't.
Can you sport one in case needed?
No. I won't do that to him.
Yeah, man. So, Brandon, tell us a little about you, yourself, what you do. We know you're one of the best New England trainers, basketball trainers in that area. So,
my name is Brandon West. I'm from Boston, Mass. I am a basketball trainer. I also am a basketball coach. I'm a mentor to a lot of kids in the city of Boston. But I'm trying to transition more into the professional basketball management role. I've been doing that lately. It's something that I have a passion for. It's something that I'm transitioning into. But like you said, I am a trainer. I take that very seriously, and I'd love to help people get better at basketball. That's a rundown of what I do.
Yeah, man.
So it's obviously like it's awesome. Mm-hmm. But how did you get into that, or at what point did you say this is what I want to start doing? As far as like, as a side, whether you want to call it a side hustle or as like for professional reasons or whatever.
I moved from New York back to Boston. I kind of needed a job. I needed a part-time job at the time. Devin in the lab, he's a big guy now, big YouTube guy, big Instagram guy. But he came up with the series 10,000 hours, and he would just go to parks, train kids. And I was like, hey, that's not a bad idea. So I actually created an LLC back in 2016, my own business called BWest Basketball Training. I did that for a little bit, got better job offers along the way. That kind of fizzled out. Fast forward to probably 2-3 years ago, hanging out on the couch, and an old friend of mine that I grew up playing basketball with, Tamance McKinney, messages me and says, hey, I'm starting this AAU program. I would love for you to be a part of it. I said, I would love to be a part of it. So I started helping him coach basketball AAU program. And that kind of just dragged me back into the game a little bit. Then I started slowly training. Then another one of my good friends, Terrell Hollins, one of my mentors now, he brought me into training. He has a company called Boston Elite Basketball. He kind of took me under his wing, showed me the ropes of what he does for training. I learned a lot from him. And then it slowly just kept building from there. My clientele got bigger. I started getting some professional players, some NBA players, and just got bigger and bigger. And
that's super cool. I love that. And it's just like kind of just that networking, and figuring out what you want to do. And you got people that still have the same mindset, different ideas, and it's just like they just bring you on board along the way. So that's like super dope.
Yeah,
man.
100%.
Let's talk about obviously this COVID year has been a crazy year nonetheless. So like, what was your life like pre-COVID, and then during COVID, and like what you have planned for like the post-COVID, I guess?
No, 100%. Pre-COVID, I was coaching at Beaver Country Day School, a pretty prestigious private school here in Boston. I was the assistant varsity coach there. So the season ends. And we go right into lockdown. Basically, it was February, March, the season end. So we went right into lockdown. I did some basketball training stuff in lockdown. I know I did some Zoom, like ball handling workouts. I had a good friend of mine who was a personal trainer do some stuff with the kids, but it wasn't the same. So lockdown kind of started to end. So gyms kind of started to open back up with all these precautions, masks, and able to get back in the gym. Some parents were training it. But slowly but surely, kids started finally back in the gyms. College players are obviously home. NBA players, some of them are home. So they wanted to get in the gym. So we're slowly able to get kind of right back into it. So right now I've been able to train almost every day at different locations. Post-COVID, I think it's going to really explode. I think I know I have NBA players that want to do camps in the area. Especially the off the court stuff that I mentioned that I'm doing. I know that stuff's going to get really, really big after COVID. We have a lot of big plans because we've been able to sit down and really think about it lately.
Exactly.
So, we have a lot of time to think about it. So, yeah.
No, I totally agree. Like, even though this thing has been a little bit of a setback, but then it also allows you to take a step back and think about, okay, what do I need to do? What can I do now? Like with that lockdown in your house, you know, you got the ideas rolling. So it's just like you kind of put it down on paper, and then like once things started opening up slowly, that's when it started to come all together. And I know the same thing just from my photography business and in general. It was just like I kind of loved this whole lockdown type thing, you know. But it works, man. It works.
Yeah. You know, how do you go about, because obviously you talked about that you had like I guess you could say mentors, or you networked, you had people that kind of brought you into it and helped you out to it, but how do you go about now branding yourself, separating yourself from, I guess, what you could maybe call competition, depending on how much competition's in it? And also, sub question to that, how do you go about picking your talent that you go to? So I don't know, you could take those either together or separately, or how do you want to?
Yeah, I'll take that first part, branding myself. That's actually very difficult for me, branding myself, because I'm unlike a lot of basketball trainers. Is if I have an NBA guy or an NBA All-Star in the gym, I'm not the type of guy to take pictures with them. One, I'll tell all about up-and-coming basketball trainers, if you have an NBA guy in the gym, they don't like that. That's just the reality of the situation. They don't want their pictures taken. They don't want videos recorded, because that's what everyone does. And it kind of makes you look amateur at the same time. So branding myself is hard in that fact, because I say pro skills trainer, but you might not see NBA All-Stars on my page, so people are like, oh, what does that mean? But sometimes I'll post on my stories, some guys want to pick up. Sometimes if you know, basically, you know, Miguel's been in the gym with me when I've had an NBA guy in the gym.
Exactly.
You know, if you know, if you know, you know. So branding myself is hard in that kind of stratosphere, I guess, of the NBA guys. But there's also guys like Eric Demers is a guy right now, up and coming name. If you don't know him, Google him. He led the whole country in scoring last year in NCAA. He's looking for his opportunity. But I'm promoting him so much right now because I want everyone to know his name, because nobody knows his name. He's a Division III basketball player, which is a small school in Massachusetts, but he averaged almost 40 points a game.
That's crazy.
Branding, I guess it goes hand in hand. Some guys that maybe I should be branding, or people expect me to be branding, I don't. Other guys that I want you to know, or want my viewers to know, or want Instagram to know, I might even do a sponsored post with some of these guys. Then I'll brand them until people won't listen anymore. Even my friend Tamance, when I call him, he goes, oh, what happened with Eric Demers today? That's what he'll say something like that. So, but I let people know. I was on the phone with the Wasserman agency group today. I'm one of the agents there, one of the biggest agents in the whole country. I let them know all about Eric Demers today because I wanted to promote him. I didn't talk about any NBA guys. So.
That's super dope.
I think that works though, because just in my take of it, of looking at outside in right here, you got NBA players, they're already established, and obviously that'd be great that they are working with you, because that attests to who you are. But if you are able to see, especially in your line of work, if you're able to work with these guys on the up and coming, it shows that you can see potential and you're able to nurture it and work with them and everything. I think that would be more of a selling point to me, like, hey, I'm trying to break into this. I want to get the guy that knows how to get me to that level, let alone, other than the guy that's, knows how to work with those guys. So, I mean, definitely that's a great way to look at it and work with those people, because you're really, the ones that, like you said, the ones that know, they're in that business. They're looking for your type of person.
Exactly.
They're going to find it definitely in that area. So that's great.
Yeah, because I think even in the trainer aspect, like you look for someone that's gonna help you progress and get better, right? So like these guys are kind of quote unquote no name currently. If they can build a name for themselves, and like obviously it does take a little bit of exposure to get on the map, so to say, because this whole world is social media driven, and get your name out there, and just to see the progress, like that's really where it's at. Just to see each athlete that you have that is no name or up and coming, like, and gets that spot, that's where you want to be, and that's where you can really prove to be like, oh, I'm a good trainer, because my guys, you didn't hear about them, but then they get here instead of the all-stars, whatever you're training, like they're really already there, you know what I'm saying? Like they already got the skill set, they already got the talent, I don't know if it was actually funny, I think just recently there was a kid, he had like no offers or something, and he literally just like tweeted his like highlights to some like coaches or something. Did you hear about that? It's super recent, and like he ended up getting like 2 different offers. Yeah, crazy. Like he just ended up just tweeting some highlights. That just is wild to me. But like the power of social media, dude, and just like
No, you're right.
you never know who's gonna see it.
Especially since everybody's on social media right now.
Exactly.
Like half the country is stuck home, if not more people. So like, the chances of somebody seeing it are definitely. Now that you're, 2020 is almost over, thankfully. So now that it is, where are you trying to take this to the next level? Like, I don't want to say what's your goal for the next 5 years, a year, or whatever, but what's the next steps from here for you in terms of this, and where are you thinking about taking it?
The basketball management stuff, like I mentioned at the beginning, that's really what I want to do. I want to be a professional basketball consultant, help guys make decisions, help guys with their off the court deals. Because I think, especially where I live in Boston, it's a very underrated market, right? New Balance headquarters is in Boston, right? They're getting into the sneaker game with Kawhi Leonard and other players, right? So I want to make sure that Boston players that not only play for the Celtics but also are from Boston. I meant to mention this at the beginning, but I was looking at a list of NBA players, and the guys that I grew up with. I graduated in 2013. We have Michael Carter Williams that plays for the Magic, Nerlens Noel, Andre Drummond, NBA All-Star. I can go on and on of NBA guys that I was in the gym with as a kid, Pat Connaughton. I can go on and on. But those guys are homegrown guys that really don't get the market of Boston isn't taking advantage of for them. So I want to be part of that movement. I also want guys who are like a good friend of mine, NBA player. He's from Boston, but he goes to Atlanta in the off season. Atlanta's a beautiful place. No disrespect to Atlanta. It's warm there. But in the off season, I would love to see guys come home and work out, come home and stay home, recover, get better, and take advantage of the marketing opportunities in Boston and even New York. New York's only 3 hours away from Boston. Take advantage of those opportunities.
And what I like about that is, we're going to talk about basketball probably next segment for a bit. But I like about that is, even when you started this in 2016, you said it was, you made an LLC, and obviously this part of it all, you're thinking business, which I feel like that's the fine line of like finding your passions and finding a way to incorporate business with it. I'm sure you had to like maybe research or look up, or I don't know if you took schooling for what you did, but like to combine the two, it does take, you can't just follow your passions and expect everything to fall into place. You got to have a little business sense. And I think that's something I've noticed across the board for everybody, photography, whatever, like that. You have to bring a little bit of common sense and street smarts, business, whatever you want to call it, into this, and it really helps to flush it out and make it happen. So
100%.
My 2 cents on that. Sorry. But I like it. So
we're all businessmen here, right?
Yeah. No. Well, during that LLC time when I had the BUS, I also had a cleaning company. So I was training during the day and going to clean grocery stores and business offices overnight. So, and I had to negotiate cleaning contracts, and I had a couple employees at the time. So like, again, like you said, business had to go hand in hand. I had to know what I was doing a little bit. So.
And it's so funny how that kind of trained you for what you're doing now, because you have clients and contracts and everything, but different scenario, but it still applies. So you can always be looking how you can better yourself no matter what field you're in if you're trying to reach for something, which is cool.
100%.
Yeah. But anyhow, I know Miguel wants to get into the basketball talk.
Well, we're gonna go into that. We're gonna keep it on the basketball talk, but to bring it to more personal, what got you started into this basketball training or management? Like what got you started into it?
Well, from a young age, my dad was a pretty good basketball player. He played Division II basketball here in Massachusetts. So he definitely put the game in my hand, so to speak. But like I said, growing up, I went to the same high school as Zach August, who terrific basketball player, plays in Greece now. In my opinion, he could be in the NBA. He's 6'10", athletic. But he's doing great in Greece, all-star, all these things. Kanan Severin's another guy. He played in the NFL, but he was a terrific basketball player. From a young age, I was surrounded by these terrific basketball players, and the guys I mentioned before, Steven Adams from another all-star center or all-star level center. He came to Massachusetts to play basketball from New Zealand. Brewster Academy is not too far from me. That's a bunch of guys, Isaiah Thomas, Mo Harkless, guys like that. They went to those schools. So that's really probably what pushed me to love basketball. My dad started it, but being the age I was in New England at the time, just was able to solidify how much I love basketball. And even though maybe I never got to those guys' levels, like I could play a little bit, but I never got to those guys' levels, I still love the game. I surrounded myself with the game. I stayed around the game. I refereed for a while. I still referee sometimes. I always stayed around the game, so I always loved the game. I was always a student of the game. Even Miguel, me and you played till 3-4 o'clock in the morning before playing 1-on-ones. You know what I mean? I just love the game, and it enabled me to do what I love now and continue to do what I love.
Yeah, I love how we both are kind of like past our prime, so we just still want to stay around the game with you training with me, like taking pictures of these athletes, but it's funny how it all kind of comes full circle. Just the love for the game and the passion for it. It's definitely a kind of like a therapeutic type sport too. Like I love it. I'm sure you can agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it helps you guys like really kind of flush out your craft though, because like with you, Miguel, I mean, you know how to get the good shots because you know the game, and obviously with training, there's an art to teaching, and not even sometimes there's people who are just really good at something, but they can't teach it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's an aspect that's needed out there. The fact that you can connect and relate and get these, get the people to absorb what you're saying and really execute it. That's an art in itself.
So on that point, David, so like being having art teaching, like what does it take to become such a good trainer, or just like kind of separate you from the amateurs to the pros, or so to speak, but you just know what you're doing and know how to really micro in on the player development? Like what does it take to be what does it take to be different? You know what I'm
saying? A few things come to mind. One, little details. You have to be a student of the game. So on the weekends, whenever you have time, watch college basketball, watch NBA basketball, watch little things. How like a guy like Chris Paul, where he puts his leg, right? A guy like Marcus Smart. Like I love watching Marcus Smart because he's such a good defender because he's smart, right? And no pun on his name, but
I love it though. I love a good pun.
Yeah.
But he's so smart because he knows where a ref's looking, and a guy might give him a little nudge, and he'll fall back, which is flopping, whatever. People can say whatever he wants about it, but he's a genius for that because a lot of guys don't do that, and that's why he's such a good defender. He won a game against James Harden. I don't know if everyone remembers that, but I'm sure a lot of Boston fans, if they're watching this, remember that James Harden got 2 offensive fouls, the best offensive player in the NBA, on Marcus Smart, because Marcus Smart knew where the ref was looking, fell down at the right time, and won the game for the Celtics. So you just got to watch. You got to watch NBA players, watch college basketball players, even high school players. Watch guys like Imani Bates, these young guys coming up. Watch that little like the little angles they do, where they put their feet, maybe how they shuffle their feet. Watch those little details if you're a trainer, and then apply those to your training. The other thing, be a great motivator, right? Training, you can go on YouTube and become a great trainer, right? Like my sister could go on YouTube and go train someone at the park, right? And do the drills. But the reality is you got to be able to be a great motivator, be able to push a kid through a wall or whoever you're training through a wall, because basketball's conditioning wise, it can get very hard, but it's all about pushing through a wall.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
that mentality, being able to break through and overcome, whether it's your own physical endurance or your opponent or whatever. Yeah, definitely. Just hardening up inside your mind and kind of tackling it.
Yeah,
I told the kids I just trained right now.
Go ahead, Brendan. Go ahead.
No,
You're the star. Ahead. You're the star. You're the star.
I have to yield to you. I was just telling the kids I was just training right now. I was in the gym with 2 prestigious big NBA players the last 2 weeks. Almost every day I've been in the gym with them. The biggest thing I took away from them is they do all their conditioning early. They run as hard as they can. They do their layups. They do all the conditioning things early so they could shoot when they're tired. So I wondered, why do they shoot when they're tired? What one player told me is anybody in the NBA can shoot at the beginning of a game.
True.
But who can shoot in that fourth quarter for 2 minutes? Who can make that shot? Who can still has their legs under them? So motivating is a huge thing to push players through that wall. Say, you're going to be all right. Let's push. Let's work. Give me 2 more minutes of hard work. That's a big part of training.
Yeah, I love that. I think like even what you touched on is, and I'm a big believer of it too, is like the little things are the big things, you know? So that attention to detail. I think even when you said like being a motivator, sometimes when you see like these coaches, like they'll get down in the training with the players, you know what I'm saying? And that's what makes them such a great coach, motivating them and really convincing them like this is how we got to play. And like just to touch on the shooting aspect, like yeah, like shooters are, there's so many different players that can literally just knock down an open jump shot, you know, but it's about that being able to shoot when you're tired. So I could definitely attest to that. That's another great mindset with like doing the conditioning first and then doing that shooting, because you can come into the gym like fresh and like knock down 95 out of 100 shots, you know what I'm saying?
No, 100%. And I touched on something David actually said when I went to Connecticut to bring my young boys up there to play. I remember, David, you said, one thing I noticed is teams that always talk are the teams that are successful. I don't know if I remember saying that.
I do, yeah.
But that's another thing. In these training sessions, I make these kids yell. I make these kids become great communicators. I make these players become great communicators. Because if they don't, and let's say they do end up playing for the Boston Celtics one day, and the Garden's screaming, and they got to learn how to communicate and fight over that. So they got to have great vocal, just like those kids had that day, David. We got to. That's one thing I try to stress to them when we're training.
And that communication will build that chemistry too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then they know that they are a team, you know. And basketball is a team sport, you know. That's definitely.
Yeah. And I see it because I'm involved with a lot of trainers too, you know, nowadays, and I'll see like different workouts. And a lot of times, or not, I shouldn't say a lot of times, but sometimes this guy is just like really working on himself, right? And then when you get into a game situation, he literally has no idea what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a different type of player. Well, because clearly in game is so different from just open gym. You're shooting, you know, doing some reps, getting some reps in, but like that communication, knowing each other's role. The chemistry within the the team, reps. That's really, because the main goal should be that team success. You know what I'm saying? So if do those little things, those details, that'll lead to the team success, and that's what we want, man. The goal is to win championships. So I really don't care if how many people are like in the gym getting reps in and stuff, but it's like, if you don't know how to just play your role and stuff, everyone wants to be the star nowadays, wants the highlights and stuff, but it's because we are in the day and age of social media where the highlights, the hype dunks and stuff is all people want to see, but it's those little details, man. So,
but I joke with you about one of your favorite players all the time, right? That he's crazy, right? But he's so different mentally. That's why he's so good at basketball, right? That's the key. A lot of people could do the same stuff, but when you're different mentally, when you're willing to be that weird guy, when the gym's full of people and you're willing to do the weird stuff to get better, that's what's going to take you to that next level. That's what's going to take you to that all-star level, because you're just different. You're not going to go with the pack. You're going to do something a little bit different to separate yourself and get noticed and play at that high level.
Yeah, I think even
because that transcends to me in anything. Like I play music, but even in like, you could do it with photography or whatever like that. When you start bringing your own personal style, whatever gets you there and puts it forward, you're basically pioneering whatever field it is to a certain degree, because you're just kind of, but it also just helps you create your own space, you know, and it just, that kind of puts you on the map in a different way. You're a little bit more memorable that way.
I think I'm not afraid to drop his name either, just because he might be watching this podcast at some point.
I have some mutual friends.
But yeah, Kyrie Irving is my favorite player, and it's funny because like obviously it is a different mindset. Like, I mean, you hear stories about Michael Jordan and Kobe being crazy during practice and stuff, and that's what made them so different and over the top, you know. And like obviously Kyrie Irving is like such a skilled ball handler and finisher and stuff. But I do feel like, since it is a driven social media day and age, like they take every single little thing, and it's just like, oh man, it drives you nuts, man. But man, he is putting in the work. Like it is crazy to see. Just like it's what he does in game is just unmatched. Like already, there's certain things a player does where you're like, he's already the best at what he does. Like Steph Curry, best 3-point shooter ever. Kyrie Irving, best handles, close to best finishing ability at the rim. Like it's just unmatched. It's wild. The last question that I wanted to ask you, obviously you train a lot of players, and not to have any favoritism, but who are some of the your favorite or best players that you have trained so far? Just to name a few.
Yeah. I know I already said I'm gonna promote him, but that kid Eric Dimmers he's really unbelievable.
Yeah.
I want you to get in the gym with him. Like, yeah, I want anyone to get in the gym. Anybody who wants to watch him work out, DM me. They can get in the gym with me. His mentality is so crazy. He's a shooter. That's his game. Mm-hmm. He's so locked and focused. He talks to himself when he works out. You think he's a crazy person, but he's just such a different breed. Such a talented basketball player. And the thing I love about him too is every time we're done working out, he says, "Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much." He never stops showing me gratitude, even though he's really doing me a favor by giving me the opportunity to be part of his journey. But he's such a grateful person every time. But when we get in between those lines mentally, he's just so locked in. He's by far one of my favorite people I've ever trained.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I like that because that, and not to cut you off, I'm sure you got more.
No, go ahead.
But I like that, just what you said right there, because obviously a lot of it comes down to you and you just kind of like making it happen. But at the same time, for him to be humble enough to realize that it's a journey that with other people, and that it's networking isn't just finding whose back you can scratch and who can scratch yours, but it's really bringing others up with you and just building almost a family camaraderie of that and kind of coming with it. But that's kind of cool to see or hear about with someone up and coming.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I think anyone who comes in the gym with me, unless they're real tool bags, which I've rarely encountered, but they become part of the big family. Like I trained an NBA player, and he FaceTimed me at the end of last week, telling me how grateful he is for me, and that stuff means a lot when they do that.
It's great motivation for you.
Yeah, exactly.
To keep going with it. So
and the reality is they don't have to choose me. There's plenty of guys in New England. There's some great trainers in New England that they could pick, but that they come to me and they're grateful for me and that they come back. It's something I love, and it's something I'm proud of. It, like you said, it's motivation for me, so I can work harder for them and go harder for them.
It's kind of funny. Back to the little things or the big things. Brandon just wants a thank you and a knuckle bump. That's it.
Just something. Just something. Let's see. Favorite players.
Can we just put that on the highlight?
Brandon's DMs are gonna get flooded with like, "Yo, how much you charge?" Yeah, man. I just want to thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how about some other favorites that you got?
Let's see. I mean, Wayne Selden, that's a good friend of mine. I don't mind saying his name. He's athletic. I love the intensity he brings. I think he's one of the best basketball players in the world. He's started for 2 NBA franchises the whole season. He's just waiting on his opportunity too. He has some injuries, but he's in the best shape of his life. I love being in the gym with him. And I love those kids I brought up to Connecticut, or brought down to Connecticut, I should say. Mm-hmm. I love working out with those kids. Those kids are the funniest kids. They make me laugh all the time. You know what I mean? I love training those kids, and they're really talented. I wanted to see them fend for their own against the grown men. Those kids they're actually all freshmen, so it's kind of cool to see them kind of doing that to college and older guys. But those kids I love.
They came.
It's funny because you saw those other guys falling apart to a certain degree because they were. When you see disunity, that's when you know. I kind of just laugh at it. If it's ever on my team, great, exactly. Here we go. But like, when you're playing and you just see the other team just yelling at each other, in an aggressive way, you're just like, well, okay, setting themselves up right now. So
yeah. I also shout out to my barber Coco. I like training him too. I told him I was gonna shout him out on this podcast. So. He's a great basketball player. A lot of people in the city doubt in him. He cuts all the Celtics. A lot of people in the city doubt him, but he can actually hoop. Take it from me. He can actually play basketball. Whoever wants to get in the gym, I'm more than happy to tell you when I'm available. I train grown men that just want to get back in shape, and they love basketball, so they want to get in shape. I love kids who really aren't coordinated.
if he didn't live so far away.
Actually, Miguel hasn't gotten in the gym with me. We've been talking about it, but he's never got an actual session in with me.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, got you.
Well, I was talking more about myself, not even Miguel. Miguel's 1,000 times better than me right now. So I'm that old guy trying to get back in shape.
Oh man, now we should do a YouTube video, like a little training session to follow up this podcast.
Yeah, I would love that. We definitely got to do that. I would love to get a training workout because I am out
That's
of shape.
actually a great transition into. It's a great transition to the next topic that he kind of has written down as far as like the importance of photography and videography. And it says in any field, but let's start first in your field, and then we can kind of expand it from there.
No, that's honestly, photography, videography is probably the biggest thing that's taken over the basketball world in the last few years. It's huge. I mean, you have literally, I have cameraman. Well, let's change one thing. This is a disclaimer to all kids. Please do not DM me asking me to work out just for a mixtape. I'm not going to do it. Let's get that out of the way first. I need to
establish that right now, definitely. So.
I need to get that off my chest because that happens way too much. Hey, can we work out?
Huh?
Can the camera
you've been holding that in for a while, huh? Since the start of the podcast.
The one reason Brandon wanted to come on this podcast, so he could say it right here and now.
He's established himself. I don't know how many followers he has on Instagram, but he's established himself crazy in this game. He has videos like Kimball Walker. He's been able to establish himself. The Celtics reposted his thing the other day. That's huge. I mean, for a guy that just came up, kind of like Miguel, like just came up taking photos of stuff, taking videos here and there. Like he just came up, and now he's this big time videographer that is in high demand. Court Vision Cuts, my good friend David Spadell. I mean, his videos have been. I think he's the best in the game.
He's unreal. I like his work too.
Yeah. His stuff is just amazing, and it brings such a fluidity in the music he chooses for the videos, like a guy hitting a shot and the ball falling through the net and the beat dropping. Like the way he does it, just an art, a beautiful thing that he does. Like David mentioned earlier, Miguel, he can take a photo when a guy is at the apex of his jump, or when he can capture a guy's emotion when he's getting fouled or something. Like those things are such a huge thing, and the kids love it. I'm sure Miguel gets DMs all the time from kids. Yo, when can I get photos? But the kids, they love it. It's such a huge part of the game. Like I said earlier, the pros, they don't like me posting stuff on Instagram or trainers posting stuff on Instagram. But if a professional photographer is going to come in the gym and take pictures of them, they do like that. That's something cool to them. And chances are they're not going to have to pay for that. So that's even better for them. So
well, it goes both ways. Just to kind of go back to what you were saying too, as far as like, don't come in you saying, hey, I want to highlight real. There's been so many times, not so many times. There's been, for me, probably more for Miguel, but I'll go with him or accompany him on some of these things, and they come up, hey, can we get a highlight reel and everything? I'm like, not to be mean, but like I really didn't see nothing to highlight. So like, but if you go back to some of our earlier podcasts, I'm always real with it. So, but if you go back to some of our earlier podcasts, we talk about, not even for us, but let's just flip it on to the other side. You got to get good at what you are first, and then you can really put yourself out there. So like, why would I want to waste them paying money for no good highlights? Why don't you, get good highlights, and then, the NBA players now, the ones that they got, we're coming to them trying to shoot them because it's good for us as it is for them now, so it's just try not to waste other people's times, but it goes both ways, just really hone your craft and get good at it, because then the rest will come. But it's awesome to see it. That's what I love about the social media, is like how much you can see and find out, again, to expand it into other fields. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of editing, and I always throw YouTube on in the background just to see and I love falling down the YouTube rabbit hole, because I'll just go for the next video suggested, whether in music or basketball or anything. There's so much talent out there. And the way it was designed before was that people had to go through certain channels, mainly big corporations or whatever, or get signed on to kind of like move forward and really get out there. But now the way it is set up with social media, you don't have to go through that. You just have to find the right way to showcase your talent, and you can get anyone's attention. And I think that's what's so cool and so opening to the field to so many people, to really kind of like put it out there. So for photography and video wise, it actually creates more business for us, because you could do it on your own, but why have to, learn all that while you're trying to learn something else? Have people like us go in there and do it and like record it and get it for you and put it. So it's like a full circle type deal. It's kind of cool how it opens up for so many different levels in that area.
Yeah. I think it's like, it's a business at the end of the day. So like if you, kind of bring it back to the branding aspect, like if you're a business and you want high quality photos or videos, like, since Instagram and Twitter nowadays, it's all photos and videos. Like if it's not like top of the line, like no one's really going to look at it. Like, what I'm saying? Like that's how Court Vision and I know another one, Hoop Visuals, is also very, very clean professional videos, and even like some photography as well, like just top of the line. And it stands out. It really does stand out. But I think that goes hand in hand with like, it's a business, if you want to really put yourself out there, you got to have the clean professional looking stuff,
Yeah. 100%.
Best foot forward, basically.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think David Spadell of Court Vision, he told me one time, he says he tries to make up all of his videos like those NBA commercials we had growing up, like those little NBA previews growing up. Like, and those are like awesome. We love those. I mean, at least I love those as a kid, like those little NBA like playoff like videos that they would make. But if you can try to aim for that every time, if you're a videographer, I mean, that's beautiful. That's great.
yeah, no, it's that's what I've been noticing with video is because I don't do the sports stuff too much. Obviously I'm working with different elements, but I want to creep into at least more commercial stuff.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing of just looking at some of those old, like you referenced, like some of I do remember those, like the pregame ones. Are you talking about where they like do the highlight reel before the final game of the finals, but you got all the 6 games before that. But it's cool to look at different aspects or different types of film and video and kind of get that inspired from that. That's the way you grow, kind of like learning from others in an indirect way. 100%. I like that though.
Good stuff, man.
All right, dope. So what you got next?
I'm definitely gonna I promise you, Brandon, I'm gonna come up and take some pictures for you. I promise you. We might have to get that training session in. Have Dave video it.
Say less, bro. Nah, he's gonna be in there, bro. What do you mean? He's gonna be working with us. We already established this.
I'll be the what not to do guy if you make a video like that.
Hey, you heard it.
No, that would be. I think that would be fun though. We should definitely try to do like maybe even a little YouTube. Training, quick basketball game. Is that the right word? I just kind of like. Yeah, that would be fun. But I don't know. Maybe next year. Fun. I know, like we've been trying to see where this podcast is going, and then so far, it's grown and it's done pretty well. But I think both of us probably on the back of our minds want to do a little bit like remote traveling videos, kind of with it, and I think that would be fun. It just depends on how much time we have to do it, but we'll put that on the list of something to kind of get up there to Boston and make a day, weekend of it, whatever, and kind of go all out.
I love coming to Connecticut.
Yeah, man.
I'd rather go Boston, to be honest.
Yeah.
Probably more stuff to do up there.
Yeah. So Brandon, before we let you go, let's just get a little NBA preview from you. What can you expect from your
NBA preview?
Yeah, let's get a little
won NBA championship.
Okay. End meeting now.
No. I'll give you for real.
Didn't they just trade away Gordon? Yeah.
I'll keep my opinion to myself on that one. No, man. I mean, the Lakers loaded up. I'm still waiting for a couple of my guys to get signed. Wayne's still a free agent. Shabazz Napier's still a free agent. 2 guys I've been able to rope with. They're still free agents and can add value to teams. So I'm waiting for those guys to get signed. But the Lakers loaded back up. The Clippers made some sneaky moves. They're still gonna be all right. So don't count them out. I would say Miami's gonna come hard as they play ridiculously hard. Oh, Duncan Robinson, another guy I grew up playing with. And you see the names just keep coming. He played in the NBA Finals last year. He's probably gonna be a max player in a couple of years.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I'm sorry to anybody I forgot their names, but
it's all good.
But now the Lakers, Clippers did some big things. I don't know what Charlotte's doing. Michael Jordan's doing something.
Suspect.
I don't know. He's either a genius or
It's kind of cool because even so I follow a bunch of photographers on my Instagram, and I was super excited just to see. There was a good amount. I would say probably 3 or 4 photographers that were able to photograph some of the rookies that were upcoming, like during the draft. And that was just like so cool, like just to be able to do that. Like man, I love seeing my company or my not to say it's like competition, but to see those people like doing well and just on the come up, like that's just like awesome. So you never know where this photography, videography, this training will take you. But it's just so cool to see, like even just in the times we live in, like there's still so much we can do and set up for ourselves. Give us a finals preview, man. West and East, who's coming out?
Finals. Lakers.
Hot take.
I will
do it.
Say the Celtics. Here's the thing: the Celtics have a trade exception that they're going to use before the All-Star break. So depending on who they're able to acquire, it could be them. Miami's tough.
What do you think about those Nets?
Oh,
they're not on your radar at all.
No, they actually.
That's probably what Miguel was fishing for.
Actually, I forgot about the Nets, and I apologize.
Forgot about.
Yeah, right now
disrespectful.
The Nets, if they can stay healthy. I hope some each, but I don't feel bad for Steve Nash. I do not envy his job because he's gonna have a tough job, a tough year.
It's gonna be good, man.
It'll be interesting, definitely. Like I said, I think that you hit it on the nail on the head, though. It's the egos. If that can get managed, I think it'd be pretty powerhouse. Well, that and injuries, but that's a powerhouse setup. But
there's so much even
on
in
paper
free
things
agency.
look good, but then in the real life situation, it's different.
Yeah, free agency can change a lot too. Like there's still a lot to settle and before the start of the season, because it starts in just about a month, so 20 days, something like that. But yeah. But man, so big shout out to B West. Appreciate your time, brother.
Training camp starts tomorrow for at least the Celtics.
Yeah, I know you did a couple of shout outs, but as far as finding you, you want to give some direction of where people can find you?
West 617 DM me. Training inquiries, any inquiries, one thing I did want to say in this podcast, and this is the segment I'll probably post, is I don't know if it's the same in Connecticut, but in Boston, New England, we got to start supporting each other as basketball trainers, as photographers. I know, Miguel, you told me one time you went up to another popular photographer in the area, and like she kind of gave you the cold shoulder. Like, we got to stop all of that. There's room for all of us to eat. Everyone needs to support each other.
For sure.
There's no time for hate. There's plenty of clients. There's plenty of players. If there's no room for jealousy, let's just support each other. Let's build together. Let's grow something. Because I think New England could be a very powerful source in basketball, tech world, any type of photography, videography, any type of business. I think New England can be such a powerhouse because we're just close to New York. Boston is a big market. So let's start supporting each other, building each other up instead of tearing each other down.
Agreed 100%, because that's just, like we said, rising up together. Yeah, no, I think that's a great message to put out there.
I'll get a lot of times just that competitive mindset, not showing like love or to anyone, but like I said, like I see so many of other photographers that are taking pictures at the NBA draft, and I'm like, I could either feel bad about myself and unfollow, or like show love, like, yo, I love seeing you doing big things. And it sucks to see other people doing that, just because it is kind of like a competitive field, in anything, just the business. But just gotta show love, man. Support each other. We're all gonna start seeing some success in different areas. So, it's interesting though. It's definitely another topic for discussion.
There's room for everybody to eat, and there's room for like for me, basketball training, right? I might be specialized in one thing, but another guy might specialize in another thing. So I encourage people, go train with him.
Mm-hmm.
Go, and if maybe you like him better and that's their new client, that's great. I'm still gonna have my clients. You'll still have your clients. We'll just all build together, but don't tear nobody down, because you never know when you're gonna need someone. First of all, that's one huge thing. And second of all, it makes you look bad, because it's like, all right, now why is this person so negative? let's just all build together. That's just the best way to do it.
I mean, in a totally different premise though. Like I do weddings, and there was a wedding I couldn't do, and I was able to suggest a couple other wedding videographers. Now, how much they appreciate it, I don't know, but hey, I'd rather pass that on to somebody else than just say no, I can't do it and leave it there. And the person that you're trying to get as a client, or maybe not have as a client, you're still helping them out, and they're going to appreciate that, you know? So it's like, it goes full circle. Like, people just don't realize that. And positivity spreads, and, you know, people will relay that about that. You're like, hey, I didn't get to work with this person, but you know what? They were very helpful. They were this or that. You just got to, again, kind of come into the business mindset of things. You're branding yourself in a lot of different ways, not only in your skills and your talents, but also who you are as a person. That's actually, influencers are the biggest thing, is who they are as a person. So it's like, putting that foot forward and just really showing to people what kind of person you are, that's going to go a long way. So
yeah, man.
100%.
Brennan, we appreciate your time,
you guys
man.
having me on.
Thank you so much for coming.
I'm trying to think that I think if I didn't mention anyone that will get mad. Shout out to Mansour Kenny. He's been a big help to me in this game. Terrell Hollins, Q Brown, Jalen Brown's brother, has been a great mentor to me and a great source.
Big names.
Coco, he's my barber. He cuts all the Celtics, but he's put me in great opportunities. He's put me in the position the last couple of weeks to be in the gym of NBA guys.
That's
Eric
awesome.
Demers has been. Everyone go check him out. I'm pushing him. Check Eric Demers out. Fall in love with his story. Read his article in Sports Illustrated. I'm telling you guys, you want to remember the name.
Hey, we'll definitely link everyone below, and stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll definitely I'll be in the gym soon with Brennan and Eric soon. Mark my words.
For our 2020